Good morning, everybody. Again, this is Calvin Butler with RBBS LLC Corporate Consulting for freight broker startups and Hollow Board Logistics, Spirit Logistics, soon to be Rafe Logistics, and I can't think of the other brokerage firm that we're contracting with. But anyway, my name is Calvin Butler. I'm the Chief Operations Officer for Hollow Board Logistics and the other brokerage firms that we are currently under contract to manage the day-to-day operations of. I'm also the CEO of RBBS LLC Corporate Consulting for Freight Brokerage Startups, which is a subsidiary of the RBBS Logistics Learning Centers. We've been in business with our parent company, RBBS Logistics Learning Centers. We've been in business since 2015, long time. So yeah, we've been in business for a while, training, freight broker agents and dispatchers, and just helping people to become successful in the logistics industry. Before that, I actually ran my own brokerage firm. Before that, I actually owned my own trucking company. Before that, I drove for Covenant Transport. So I've got a pretty wide range of experience in this industry. So, and that's why people come to me and they rely on me for great advice and to mentor them and to teach them how to make money within this industry. Today, we're going to talk about something that is very exciting, and we've had a lot of people who have taken some interest in it. It's our freight brokerage franchise opportunity. When we set up freight brokerage firms, we come in and take over freight brokerage firms, and we are contracted to run the day-to-day operations of those freight brokerage firms. We also implement the capability for them to grow and expand and increase their on-hand cash reserves, because that's a big factor. Okay, shippers want to know, do you have cash reserves? And one of the best ways that I've found to increase cash reserves for brokerage firms is to incorporate franchises or branch agency franchises. And this brings in immediate cash that the brokerage firm can have on hand to show in cash reserve. Because a lot of trucking companies want to know, can you pay them out of your own cash reserves and then get your money from a shipper? Because not all loads are factored. There's a big misconception in this industry that every load is factored. Well, there's no way for a brokerage firm or a factory company to factor every load, because factoring companies, they lend a credit rating to each one of your customers. Let's say you've got a company that's been in business for 10, 15, 20 years, and they're a shipper, and that shipper and your shipper has been in business for that 20 years. That shipper, let's say, is a construction company that builds houses, that builds homes. And let's say they may have a revenue of $41 billion a year, or whatever the case may be. Good, solid, stand-up company, great credit rating and everything. But a factory company may only approve them for $100,000 line of credit for a factory, or $150,000 or $200,000. Well, that's not going to last very long. If they're building homes all over the country and they've got and if they're sending you 100 loads a day, that you need to get booked onto trucks and stuff, that $100,000, $250,000 line of credit is going to run out real quick, probably within the first 2 to 3 weeks of you doing business with them. Simply because if you're just booking, let's say, matter of fact, let me share my screen here real quick, and I'm going to kind of pull up my calculator. I'm going to pull up my calculator here so I can show you here. So if they're sending you 100 loads per day, and that's not a very large load count. There will be some companies that you sign up with that will be sending over, 500,000, 2,500 loads each day. But let's say they're sending you over 100 loads per day. And if you're only booking as a brokerage firm 25% of those loads, that's going to be 25 loads a day. Now, when a factoring company gives a credit rating, they may approve them for 100 or 250. Let's say they got approved for $250,000 line of credit, okay, with the factoring company, okay? But remember, that's the total amount. That's just not the margin That's for the total all-in load fee, the total all-in rate, total all-in load fee. Now, let's say if they're moving freight, across the country in all these different lanes, let's say the average lane that they have is 1,000 miles. Okay, they're moving freight, 1,000 miles. It's not hard to do, 1,000 miles. And let's say the average lane rate is, let's say, $3.20 per mile. Okay, that's all in lane rate. That's without margin and what the carrier gets. So the carrier's lane rate might be like $2.90, and then our margin may be another 30 cents per mile. Okay, so that's $3.20. So that's the total lane rate, $3.20. That's going to equal $3,200. Now that $3,200 that they've got to pay out totally when we move freight for that shipper, and they got to pay that carrier, they got to pay us. That's $3,200. So that $3,200 times 25 loads, right? You got $3,200 times 25 loads. You're already at $80,000. Okay, now and that's each day. If you're moving 25 of those loads a day, you're already at $80,000. So if you're moving that 5 days a week, you're well over your limit for what the factoring company will get them credit for. So the factoring company is only going to do $250,000. Then they got to pay some of that off for them to actually factor more freight. So does that mean that we stop factoring freight at $250,000? We stop moving their load when we reach that $250,000 limit? Oh, of course not. A brokerage firm is going to do some of their loads on factoring, but they can do off a limited factor. But then we're going to extend our own private line of credit to that customer. And our private line of credit may be as high as, we may go as high as $800,000, $1 million. Now, in order to do that, that means that we've got to be set up on what's called net 30, net 60, and net 90 accounts directly with that shipper. So our credit limit for the factoring company is $250,000, right? So that means that leaves us with another $150,000 just for that week that we need to move freight for. And the only way to move that is if we enter into a direct contract with that shipper to be paid on a net 30, net 60, and net 90. For those of you who don't know what that means that the shipper can take up to 30 days to pay us, 60 days to pay, 90 days to pay. Actually, there's a 15-day grace period on that. So that means that a shipper can take up to 145 days to pay on the load that you move for them. Okay? So now, are most small trucking companies going to wait that long? No. Most small trucking companies that have less than 20 trucks, they're not going to wait that long to get paid. Okay, they want to be paid pretty much as soon as they drop the load, within 3 to 5 days after they deliver the load and turn in all their paperwork. So what happens? What brokerage firms do, what we do is, for the smaller trucking companies, we usually use those to fact. Those are the trucking companies that's running a load here or there, one load here or there. They got maybe one truck, 1 to 5 trucks, maybe 10 trucks. They're running a load here and there. Okay. For our dedicated freight and our large amount of freight that we move all the time, we have those trucking companies that use the larger trucking companies, like a Landstar agency or a Heartland Express or a Schneider or a Warner, or even a what's the company that bought Swift? Something like that. One of those companies, a company that has 50 trucks, 100 trucks, 500 trucks, 2,000 trucks. Landstar agency that has 97,000 trucks, in that agency. Those are the companies that we use for that high volume of freight, the freight that we're moving a lot of, because they don't mind being on net 30, net 60, and net 90s. Okay, because they're used to being paid on a net 30, net 60, and net 90. They can afford to be paid on a net 30, net 60, and net 90 account. Unlike the smaller trucking companies, the owner-operator companies, the smaller companies and fleets, they can't afford to be on net 30, net 60, and net 90 accounts. So they got to have their money kind of pretty fast. So what we normally do is, for those smaller companies, those companies that have the 1 truck owner operator, the 2, the 5 truck, maybe 10 truck owner operator, those are the companies that we put on our intermittent, our freight that's not running like every single day. They're not going to be able to handle loads of 20 loads per day. They can't handle that because they don't have the equipment to handle it. They can handle maybe 3 loads per week, 4 loads per week or something like that. Those are the companies that we put on factoring, that we factor those loads, because they have to get paid quickly because they're running on a shoestring budget. Okay, that's the best way I can explain it. Those trucking companies are running on what's called a shoestring budget, so they have to be paid, kind of upfront, immediately. Now, for those other companies, bigger companies, we put them on a net 30, net 60, or net 90. Now, shippers also want to know that you have cash reserves. And this is the reason why franchising is a great move for what we set up when young brokerage firms, they come to us and they ask us to take over their firm and run their day-to-day operations. One of the things that we do, besides revamping the operations and rebuilding their website, like you see here, beautiful websites and stuff like that, we incorporate a franchise component to that brokerage firm. Now, the reason why we incorporate that franchise component, because it does a few things here. It helps the brokerage firm to extend its brand. Okay, if we get 25 franchises to a brokerage firm, that's 25 different branches. That's very attractive to a shipper. Extremely attractive to a shipper. Not only that, if we have 25 franchises and they each pay $2,500 on their franchise fee, that times 25, that gives the brokerage firm $62,500 in cash reserves. That's money outside of what they're making on booking freight and moving freight. That component also gives shippers and truck drivers, owner-operators, the confidence to work with that brokerage firm, because that brokerage firm is not working on a shoestring budget now. That brokerage firm actually does have cash reserves that they can pay out in case they reach their limit on factoring. They can still pay trucking companies, those smaller trucking companies, without having them to go to a net 30, net 60, and net 90. So when people ask me, well, why should I set my brokerage firm up for a franchise? Why should I join your network? Why should I have you all to run my brokerage? Because we're going to make your brokerage firm profitable. That's why. We're going to make your brokerage firm profitable. We're going to set your brokerage firm up in a way that you're going to be able to get cash reserves. Because remember, that's just on 25 franchises. Okay? And we allow 4 franchises per state. Yeah. If we fill in all 48, mainland states here, that's a lot of franchise. That's a lot of money in cash reserves. Not only that, each franchise is paying $199 per month. That's their monthly franchise fee. You got 25 franchises paying that each month. That's a reoccurring monthly. That is a monthly revenue of roughly $5,000 a month. Now, remember, if we're putting 4 franchises per state, that's 48 times 4, which you're looking at 192 branches across the United States. If we reach that capacity, that's 192 branches. So that's 192 branches times $2,500. That's giving your brokerage firm $480,000 in cash reserves. You don't think that's going to be attractive to a shipper? You don't think that's going to boost your credit rating sky high to where every shipper you go to, they're going to want to work with you? You don't think that's going to instill the confidence in these smaller trucking companies that, okay, this is a brokerage firm that I want to work with, because they're not running on a shoestring budget? They didn't just pop into this and trying to run a brokerage firm and hope that the shipper pays them, so they can pay us. See, this is why the franchise component is so essential to creating confidence and creating a strong, financially stable brokerage firm. Now remember, that same 192 branches is paying $199 a month. That same 192 branches times $199. So that's $38,000 in monthly revenue. Outside of brokering freight, outside of dispatching freight, outside of your dispatch division, outside of your brokerage division. That's extra revenue that's coming in from a source from your branches that are scattered across the United States. And if each one of those branches is just booking, look, if each one of those branches is only booking 8 loads per day, okay? 8 loads. Let's say each one of those branches is booking 8 loads a day. Let's say the average broker's fee is, let's just say $500. So that's 8 loads times $500 on the average broker's fee. That's their cut. Okay, that's gonna make $4,000 a day that are coming in from each branch. Okay, now of course you don't get to keep that whole $4,000 because you got to pay the branch, the franchise owner their cut. They're getting 24.875%. Okay, that's what they're getting. So because we pay those branch owners, the franchise branch owners, as part of the agreement, they get 24.875% of every broker's fee that is, or every broker's fee and every dispatch fee that is moved from their branch. Okay, so on the broker side, they're getting 24.875%, 24.875%. So they're getting $995 is what their cut is. And that outside of them paying their, all their, their workers and everything, that's all coming out of that same broker's fee. That's coming out of that same $4,000 per day broker fee, paying their salespeople, paying their processors. So that is actually the owner's cut each day on just 8 loads a day being booked. Now, remember, we recruit, hire, and train on average 25 to 30 salespeople for each franchise, for each agency. Currently, right now, for our corporate office, we have over 55 salespeople and staff working for Hollywood. Okay, so for each agency, we're going to recruit, hire, and train at least minimum 25 to 30 salespeople. Now, the average freight broker agent, one freight broker agent by themselves, on average books 8 loads a day. Just one freight broker by themselves books 8 loads a day on average. And remember, you got 25 to 30 salespeople in your franchise, and if your franchise is only booking 8 loads a day, that means more than 60% of your staff is not doing anything. Now, if each one of your salespeople is booking just 1 load a day, that gives you 30 loads a day. That bumps that figure way up. Way, as they say in the song, way up. And that bumps that figure way up. But my point is, franchising is good for everybody who's involved in the franchise platform, who's involved in that way of doing business, the way that we have set it up. Okay, because it's gonna make the brokerage firm and the franchise, the branch agency is still part of the brokerage firm. So it's gonna create that stability, that financial stability. It's gonna create a strong, financially stable brokerage firm. A brokerage firm that both shippers and owner operators and large trucking companies would be proud to work with. They don't have a problem working with them because they're not working on shoestring budgets like 90% of all these brokerage firms that are out there now. Okay, so that is the reason why, if you have a brokerage firm right now, if you own a brokerage firm, you got your bond, your insurance, your authority, all that stuff, you got everything you need, and you are an operational brokerage firm. If you're not making money, you might want to give us a call, 866-973-6445. So we can come in, restructure your brokerage firm. We're going to build you a beautiful website, restructure your brokerage firm, and make you profitable. Because we're going to incorporate, not only we're going to restructure your brokerage division, we're going to add a dispatch division. We're also going to incorporate the franchise model into your brokerage firm so your brokerage firm can expand and make money. So there you have it. This is why companies contract with us to run their brokerage firm. Okay, I've had some questions. People say, "Well, why would I contract you to run my brokerage firm?" Well, because currently, right now, you ain't making no money with your brokerage firm, and you're running on a shoestring budget. You don't have anything in your cash reserve, do you? That's 90% of all brokerage firms out there. They don't have any cash reserve. They're basically running on a hope and a prayer. Well, we're gonna solve that problem. That's what we do. Okay. If you want to talk to us or reach out to us and inquire about what it takes for us to come in and take over and run your brokerage firm and run your day-to-day operation, you still own your brokerage firm. You're just putting us in place as the management staff. We're taking care of the day-to-day operation. Now, once we come in and take over your brokerage firm and the day-to-day operation, that's what we do. We are in charge of running your day-to-day operation. We're not looking to contract with people who want to come in and backseat drive. That's not what we're looking to do. We're only going to work with these brokerage firms that are going to allow us to come in and do what we do, run the company. You still own the company. You still own the company. Yes, you're still going to be responsible for paying the bills until we get you profitable. Okay? When we get you profitable, then, with the franchise and everything else, that kind of pays the bills for you. I mean, the $199 a month, we sign up 5, 6 franchises, and that's enough to pay for your normal bills of your brokerage firm. Your insurance monthly payment, your CNTMS login, subscription, your load board subscription, things like that. Your quarterly bond fees, things like that. That's going to be enough to take care of that. Anything over 10 franchises is all profit. It's all profit, all cash reserves, all profit. So this is why brokerage firms, especially a lot of young brokerage firms, because 92.6% of all new brokerage firms are out of business within the first 2 years because they have no cash reserves. They're really running their brokerage firm on a hope and a prayer. No, they book loads, put them out there, truckers run them, and they hope that the shipper pays them. They pray that the factory company pays in a timely fashion. They don't have any cash reserves to back them up. Well, this business model solves that problem. On top of helping them to expand and grow their brand, on top of giving the shippers the security of knowing that you have in every location throughout the country to cover all the lanes. Okay? All right. I thank you all. And like I say, look us up. Give us a call. All right, everybody. Thanks again.